Mike, can you take a roll?
All right, Traxler, Bright. Here. Majewski.
Here.
Myers.
Here.
Albright.
Present.
Finkler.
Here.
Monday.
We have a quorum. Meeting was noticed appropriately?
Yes, the meeting was noticed appropriately.
All right. I will look for a motion to approve of the agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
I'll make a second.
We have a first with Finkler and a second by Juski. Did I say that right? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All against? All right. Look for a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting on May 8th.
I'd make a motion to approve.
I can second? Okay.
We have a first by Juski and a second by Bright.
Is it Bright or Albright?
Right.
Right.
Who's first?
He was.
All right. New business.
Do you have to vote on that?
You have to vote on that?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Motion carries. New business, election of officers, Mike.
We have chair, vice chair. We have chair, vice chair, and secretary, and currently the chair is Uriah Monday, vice chair is Mike Myers, and Mike Finkler is the secretary. So, someone can make a motion.
I would like to make a motion to keep the officers as they are.
Second.
All in favor?
Oh, aye.
Aye.
All against? Same as same.
All right.
All right. I believe we have a public hearing tonight regarding the zoning map amendment for Prairie Ridge to be 2B3.
Yeah, hang on here.
So how do I open that up, Mike?
You can just say, you open the public hearing and request, ask if anyone wants to speak on the item.
All right. So I'll open up the public hearing. Is there anybody here that would like to speak in behalf on this?
I don't, other than Matt, at some point, he's here for questions. But he's the only one on the list.
So it's really just the zoning moving to B3, right? That's what the public hearing is?
It's, yeah, 2B3, yeah. When I turn up here, I'm gonna turn this up.
But there's no action for the public hearing,
Right,
right?
right.
It's for the
Yep.
action.
So we're just going to hear any comments from the public. It doesn't look like there's any.
Okay. Do I have to ask?
You have to ask 3 times, right?
Okay.
It's helpful, yeah.
Again, I'll ask, is there anybody here to speak at the public hearing for Prairie Ridge to be rezoned to B3? Hearing none, I'll ask again, public hearing regarding the zoning map amendment to Prairie Ridge to B3. Anybody like to speak? Hearing none, I would, do we have to get a motion to close the hearing? No. All right. The hearing is now closed. Moving on to number 4, discussion and possible action regarding the certified survey map, Prairie Ridge Health. Mike, you wanna?
This brings it, there's a lot of documentation here, but essentially the short of it, Prairie Ridge has purchased property last fall as a separate lot from the existing hospital, and they're looking to combine those 2 lots. And up on those, well, it's across a few pages, probably So they're adding in lot one here. It's probably easiest to see
There
this
you go.
highlighted area here on, so the hospital's on this lot, and they're merging this lot here and this corner piece down here all into one lot. And currently, the hospital is zone B2, lot .16 here is zoned rural development, and the appropriate zoning district for all three lots is B3, general commercial district.
So B3 is the little triangle?
B3, the proposed is, right now, this lot here, the lot .01 and 1608, this outlet down here.
Are you looking at the same map that we are?
No. This is, it's the same map. I mean, it's just that it doesn't have all the noise on it that's in your packet.
Trying to make it clear.
Yeah.
But this lot here, the zoning is really, this lot here is rural development. This is currently B3 or B2, and the proposal is to change these to B3.
So the green is the proposal going to B3.
Yep, and then also this lot here, it's currently B2, and it really should be B3. So we're cleaning that up. to be
And that's the creation of being able to build a hospital?
Yes.
Okay. So it was zoned incorrectly the first,
Not quite sure the history on it, but
okay.
it should be B3.
Any discussion?
So they're looking to build additional buildings?
They're combining, they're gonna combine the lots into one, and Matt can talk to this, but I think they're looking at an expanded parking lot initially, and potentially in the future, additional building space. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the plan for this is to create a new drive, because the drive we have right now is kind of compact with our parking lot. If you've been in there, it's kind of hard to get in and out of there during busy times. New retention pond for more parking. And then this would set us up for anything in the future. If we would ever need to build a new hospital, we wouldn't have to look for a new location. We could just build on-site, use current utilities. That's basically what this is, just setting us up for future growth. No new building, no new hospital right now.
Okay.
You currently have a helipad, right?
We do, yep. That we would keep that, yep.
Any other discussion, questions?
And there's a review letter regarding the CSM, and the recommendation is to approve the CSM with the condition that the items in the review letter get addressed.
I'll move to approve the CSM with the condition that the items in the review letter get addressed.
I'll second that.
We have a first, Finkler, a second by Hajewski. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 All against? Motion carries.
That was the approval of the certified survey
CSM,
map,
yep.
combining the lots.
Now we're one.
And then, so now, now what we're doing is actually changing the zoning district. So I'm gonna turn off that layer there. So you can kind of see this lot here. This lot is where the hospital is here. Or there. So we're changing rural development to B3, and this B2 to B3, so.
So number 5 is discussion and possible action regarding the zoning map amendment, changing zoning to B3 for Prairie Ridge Health.
I'd make a motion to approve or to recommend approval to City Council.
Second.
We have a first by Ajewski and a second by Finkler. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All against? Motion carries.
Okay. That'll go on to city council.
Now we get into the old business. Discussion and possible action regarding section 11495 outdoor storage of vehicles of zoning. Mike, you want to kick this off again?
Sure, sure. A lot of discussion at the last meeting. To me, what I took away from that was there's just trying to find a balance between keeping our neighborhoods looking attractive and property rights and, you know, the ability of people to utilize their property for what they enjoy doing. So combination of that, added text to section 3 in 114-95. Right now, it's not allowed to have recreational vehicles parked in the front yard, even in the driveway. So by adding the language in red, however, you know, the language being, however said, vehicles may be parked on a paved driveway in the front yard. And then it goes on to define an updated, more modern definition of what recreational vehicles are. So travel trailers, campers, all-terrain vehicles, UTVs, snowmobiles, and other similar vehicles. So to me, that kind of was my sense of that combination of property rights usage, and so that 35-foot length for travel trailers is in effect, pop-up cameras, that, you know, nothing else, none of that changes. It just allows for it to be parked in a driveway between the house and the road. If it's on the grass, that would not be allowed, as I think I've written this here.
And if I remember correctly, this is just an amendment or a change until we go through all of the, right?
Yeah, that'll be a different process, the
Yep.
the zoning rewrite, we're working on that, and, you know, we might have a better way to address that in another 18 months, but for now, you know, does this seem to in line what people were, kind of took away from that meeting last month?
Definitely, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and this is just looking to go to a public hearing first and then council?
Yeah,
I never
you-
can
you-
get
You
it
can't
straight.
approve this tonight, because there hasn't been a public hearing on it. So
Right.
if this is the language you liked it, the recommendation would be to send it to a public hearing in July. And then then it would go to council.
Then it would
after.
go to council, okay. I'll move to send this to public hearing in a future meeting.
Albright will second that.
We have a first from Finkler and a second from Albright. Any other discussion? Mike, I've got one question.
Okay.
So I can park my boat now in my driveway, or when this all gets through. Is it addressed being that I can't park my 36-foot boat over the sidewalk? Is that addressed somewhere else in the code?
Yeah, that's addressed in section
No, you don't.
Public Works, somewhere like that. And
Okay.
But if it was 36 feet and you were still in your driveway at 36 feet, you would not be allowed to do that. Because there's that, well, no, wait. Yeah, you could do 36 because it doesn't, no, it says watercraft 35 feet. So
Yeah. No, my question was more about,
the right-of-way portion?
am I able, or does it address not parking on a sidewalk?
Yeah, we have
Okay.
other parts of the code that do that.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I have one quick question. I have a very short driveway, so this is a personal nature. I almost have to pull up to touch the garage door in order to get my back bumper off the sidewalk. And I have a mid-sized truck. Is that in violation of this current code? Because I have no other place to put it other than my driveway.
It's not in violation of 114-95, which we're talking about today, but there are other sections of the municipal code that do not allow you to block a public sidewalk.
But I'm not blocking it, it probably goes this far over the,
You're creating a barrier in there. I'm sure there's language.
It's off
to that.
topic for tonight, sorry.
just a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It probably is.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
All against?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Is that aye for against?
That's against. I'm
Oh, aye,
sorry.
aye.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
no,
Nay.
whatever, nay.
Okay, we got a nay. I don't have to roll, right?
Okay, so what's the count then? Do we have a quorum? Do we have 4 people that approved this?
4-1?
4-1.
Oh, okay, it was 4 to 1, okay.
4 to 1.
I didn't know where we
Yeah, I didn't
landed.
hear very many ayes
No.
either.
Aye.
Okay.
We good?
I-
Motion carries. Or recommendation, right? That was a recommendation. Consideration of review of property maintenance ordinance.
The council sent this back. One of the things that they didn't like to see the exception for lots over 5 acres. That included the city and city parks. It also included major manufacturers like Interpac and Fromm, and some other large parcels. I spoke to the Public Works Director. He doesn't have any concerns about keeping the parks mowed at 8 inches. I talked to him face to face on that, and he doesn't have concerns about that. But there's a lot of really good reasons to have some level of, some kinds of exceptions for natural areas and natural lawns in the city. If we don't have any exceptions, that means no natural lawns. It means we can't have a natural park where maybe there's prairie grasses or that, and trees going through. It also means that grasses in our rural development zone where there's agriculture, that grasses in those areas would need to be mowed as well. So, and then there's also areas like shoreline areas where we really like to see natural areas to reduce sediment flow into rivers and to control phosphorus into our waterways. That's another reason for that. And then there's areas like our park. We're doing a major project in Fireman's Park where we're pulling the culvert out of there to create some more open areas to deal with flood and that. And my understanding is that project's going to have natural lawn area in there along that stream bank. So there's plenty of reasons for some level of exceptions. And so in your packet, I do have kind of some draft language that outlines some exceptions. It does require large lots to mow their lawn unless they have register a natural area exception with the city. So that could be part of a city park that we want to be natural and have some trails through it. It could be a large manufacturer that has an area of trees with grass in it, and they just don't want, it would be, that's an asset as well. In some cases, it just makes some sense. So provide some flexibility in there. And it also allows for stormwater ponds to be managed according to the stormwater ordinance rather than this ordinance. So there's a number of reasons for having some level of exceptions for natural areas and natural lawns.
I have a quick question. So when I read this, I wasn't really understanding. So the council, are they concerned that if we have exceptions that people will take advantage? Or are they just looking for the exceptions to be more specific?
Perhaps the city council can address that. Specifically.
Ryan, you wanna come up?
Oh, yeah.
So my main concern was the 5 acres, right? If the city, most of the city property is over 5, so how is that fair? Technically, the city would never have to mow the lawn in a majority of their parks. It's not fair to the residents that we're putting a restriction because they own a 1/4 acre. So I'm happy to see that the 5 acres is removed. The ordinance is kind of vague from an alder's eyes to me. It doesn't say, is it the lot entirety? Or if I don't want to weed whack my yard for 2 months, is that okay? And a commercial area is not addressed versus residential. It just says city, within city limits. I get the exceptions. However, I would like to see if we're going to do the entirety of the whole lot, or if we're going to allow not to weed whack every time. I mean, there's questions that are going to come to the enforcement end of it, right? How picky are we going to get? And I don't think we're looking to go after individuals because they don't want to weed whack every time they mow. Personally, where I work, we don't weed whack every time. We weed whack once a month. And that's acceptable to us, to me. But it's not like outlined. It's not black and white in the ordinance that if you have 3 weeds on your property over 8 inches, technically you're in violation of the ordinance.
So did our old ordinance split hairs like this?
No, it did not.
So the old ordinance was more vague? Or,
This ordinance, this proposed draft is very similar to what it was previously. It just gets rid of, it applies to all zoning districts, except for the exceptions outlined in red. It eliminates the 5 acre piece. It applies to industrial properties like Enerpac, applies to Prairie Ridge Health, it applies to Fromm, some of those bigger industrial properties. It also applies to commercial lots and not just residential.
so I read this and my gut instinct is we need to be reasonable when we are, enforcing something. So if I have 3 or 5 weeds sitting in my flower bed or in my grass, I don't think somebody can look at that and say, okay, I'm not abiding by the ordinance, because, 95% of the rest of my lawn is fine. I think what we're trying to do here is we're trying to minimize those lawns that just always are overgrown and they have excessive weeds and they are just, out of control.
I think if you read through Part B, and it talks about, so as to present an attractive appearance, in accordance with generally accepted landscaping practice and so on, I think while it's a difficult measure to say, yes, this one is a problem and this one is not, I suspect the enforcement of it is in a way that when someone is cited under this, we're probably talking about, say, a foreclosed property where the bank has not been handling the lawn mowing at all. I've seen at least one of those in our neighborhood that's finally been addressed, or a particular problem property. I don't think there's been any instances of someone, getting a citation for having 1, 2, 3 weeds in their yard. That just happens.
You don't have the time for that. These enforcement actions are time consuming.
Right.
So when we take action, we need to pick our battles, and if there's a couple weeds here and there, I would be very surprised if we would spend time on that.
Right.
Typically, probably would come from a neighbor, right?
Well, we could have a neighbor complain about 3 weeds in their neighbor's lawn.
Yeah.
I don't know that we would probably say, can you talk to your neighbor, or perhaps go over there and trim it yourself. because we just don't have those kinds of resources to.
No, I'm just saying that most of your complaints would come from a neighbor.
Sometimes.
And then you'd go out and take a look at
And
it.
we also have people that patrol as well, and if
We
there's an
do?
issue, yes, we do. But we do have neighbors that complain, yeah, and we do have people that, that when they're out about in the city, see properties that are at issue, and we deal with those.
Is,
And it's the severe issues.
is
Right.
Part C new?
Natural law exception, that is not new,
That is not new,
No,
so,
Only the red's new.
only the red.
so, I'm sorry, I don't have a copy that's got
What,
color.
what about, say, vacant, undeveloped property? You know, you've got maybe something which is going to be a future neighborhood, not picking on them, I don't know if it's a problem or not. Across from the hospital, there's a large amount of vacant land, maybe for future development. You know, property like that, would they apply for the exception? Because 8 inches on a grassy
Well,
future
the area
neighborhoods.
across the hospital, there's some large acreage there, that's zone rural development, that's agriculture. So that would be, come into play, well, right in this draft, that would fall under the agriculture exception. There is about a 4 or 5 acre lot across from the hospital there that, it's a subdivided lot that is, I think, zone multifamily. That would need to be mowed. There are some other platted residential properties. Some are used for agriculture, some violate this ordinance, and they would need to. There's some parts of community trails that are platted that violate this the current ordinance are in violation, and they would need to mow those. So, but I think the idea here is if something is in agriculture, that's you know, the edges around that and various things that's a reasonable exception. You know, our waterways, our shoreline areas, there's some exceptions there.
So going back to my question on C, so if I have a natural lawn, I have to get a permit?
Well, you have to get it approved. I don't think it's a
Register,
permit, is it?
you just need to register it.
Yeah.
Register it? Okay.
It says they have a fee, but we currently do not have a fee for this in our city fee schedule.
Would that also apply to no mow, May?
I don't think we have an allowance in
don't.
our ordinance for no
No.
mow May.
We don't. So I don't want us to split hairs because I don't want this to become, you know, a strict black and white situation, because we need to have some leeway. And if somebody has a yard that they don't take care of and they have like 3 complaints, that's a whole lot different than, you know, somebody, you know, having a bad day or having their leg hurt and they can't get out and mow. I would hate for us to get too strict, but then we also can't not be strict enough, because otherwise what's the point of having the ordinance if we can't enforce it, because it's, you know, everybody would be in trouble.
At the end of the day, a lot of this is worked out through people involved in enforcement, making good judgments and working with property owners. And sometimes, you know, like you say, someone gets hurt, they're ill, something like that, neighbors helping neighbors. So some of the stuff gets worked out on how we enforce things and how we are neighbors and citizens.
So is there, somebody mentioned the word reasonable enforcement?
Yeah.
Is that in here in any way? That it's okay not to have it in there, I guess?
I don't think you would want to put that in your ordinance.
No.
You know? Okay.
I think, I like your idea, Shelley, because just because it's in the ordinance doesn't mean the enforcer has to enforce it, right?
Right.
It's there when he or she needs to, though.
Right.
So that's something that the city has to do to protect themselves, instead of coming back here when an issue arises and then we need to readdress it. They can be in there. We don't have to enforce it. I mean, we have the right, the city has the right to enforce the ordinance as strict as they want. So it's nice to have it there if we need it. Shall the city need it? The vacant lot thing, I did have a discussion with the city administrator too, because I asked him about the 5 acres, and him and I couldn't find anything that was 5 acres, no city that had that restriction or leeway. And then he did mention, I don't take me for granted, I won't even say the city, but he brought up a city for like land that was gonna be developed. They had an ordinance drafted that they had to mow the border of it, keep the border mowed. So, just a food for thought, because I know you addressed it for a possible development property.
If a property is currently developed, there's usually erosion control, fencing around. It's going to be messy. But there are lots out there that are platted that aren't in any phase of development. They're just vacant. And so in those would need to be mowed, in my view.
Is this part of the rewrite?
No, this is part of the building code. The property maintenance is part of the building code.
I think this is what went to council, right? With the red?
No.
No,
No,
The
Only
only part
the-
that went to council was the change to 8 inches. And this was the feedback based, and that's why the 5 acres is scratched. And then Mike added in, the exceptions to it. I think I'm good with that, and it leaves some wiggle room on enforcement by not getting too specific in particular. So, I have no concerns with the changes.
and I am the one that pushed it back or made the motion.
Yeah.
I am a firm believer that we have peers like you that sit on these committees, and you make the recommendation, and if we don't agree with it, I believe it goes back to you to justify or fix it.
No, I agree. No,
So that's why I pushed it
perfectly
back.
appreciate that this had the opportunity to come back to us, because we need to understand, what the concerns are. Okay, so this is a rewrite since it's been to council. I don't think I
Yes.
understood that.
Yeah, it was just the 10,
Okay,
8-inch.
so then if this rewrite is acceptable, can I make a motion to send this back to council as is?
Yes. That's on to you.
All right, so. Because we just need to send it back to council, right?
Yes, as presented, yeah.
18578.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we send this back to council as it's written.
Second?
We have a first by Albright and a second by Finkler. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All against? Recommendation carries. And Mike, tell us where you were yesterday.
Oh.
Yesterday we did, we did a first impressions program, where it's kind of like a secret shopper program where two communities partner up and they secretly evaluate the other community. So, this is kind of through CDA, and we're working with UW Extension, and we're partnered up with Dodgeville. And, we visited Dodgeville yesterday, a team of us. So it was the mayor, Amy Jo, myself, David, and, Sarah Modoff. And we visited Dodgeville, so we're writing up there's a report, and we'll have, the two communities will exchange ideas, and so we'll have some presentations and reports on that in the future.
Will those be presented at council or at CDA or?
It'll start out at CDA, and we'll go from there. But it probably, would be worth to share with this committee as well. And we'll probably do with council, yeah.
Awesome.
Learn a lot?
Yeah, I think, we had two groups of 3, and I haven't had a chance to chat with the other group at all. But it was interesting. We share a business with Dodgeville, Vita Plus. That was interesting. There's definitely some differences. Dodgeville is the county seat, so they have a courthouse there, and that adds some things there. But I'm curious to see how, get the feedback from Dodgeville when, they do their visits, so.
They do it on the same day or
They do it secretly.
secretly? Got it. Got it. Top secret.
So the last time I was in Dodgeville, everything was being built up around the city. Do they have a historic downtown?
Yes, they do.
And
And they have narrow sidewalks, just
and
like
they
Columbus.
have narrow sidewalks. So how does that look down there?
It looks nice. They have,
You- you reckon?
they utilize shrubs, small trees and shrubs on their sidewalks. And they have some really nice hanging baskets. You could definitely notice had a green feel in their downtown.
I might have to go check it out then.
So, but it's kind of a low-cost way of getting feedback from outside your bubble. But there's definitely some similarities. They have a really nice hospital and nursing home facility over there as well, just like we have a nice hospital.
But they're not
here.
getting a new parking lot.
Yeah. They're, yeah, so so you'll see more on it.
Good.
But it's a,
Suspense is killing you.
so we gotta let the process play out.
Right?
So
And also
June is the month we agreed upon to visit the other communities, so.
And you also on your list, you got planning, zoning, and building inspections?
Yeah, that was just the activity report, and so it gives you an idea of some of the things that go on in day-to-day, some of the things, and I think we listed the year-to-date permits in there, zoning and building. So that gives you a sense. We spent quite a bit of time on the front end with citizens when it comes to shed permits and fence permits and getting a complete application. We probably spend more time getting a complete application that we can review than we do reviewing it. Yeah, it's been a busy year.
So the last time I saw the application, it's pretty dense. Have you considered getting rid of some of the questions
Which
on it?
Which application?
The application for all the stuff that we have to fill out. I feel like I looked at an application and it was like filled from the top to the bottom with information.
We are in the middle of
Reworking?
implementing an online permitting system.
Oh.
And so that's where we're gonna do our major reforms. And it will provide better external and internal customer service. People will be able to have an account, submit their applications online. They'll be able to check the status. It'll be cleaner, and it also will kind of require people to submit, if they're submitting. There's a lot of details that go into implementation of this, but one of the things we get applications piecemeal, part of an application and then it's all over the place. So this, I think, will help keep that a little bit more cohesive. And you'll be able to, what's the status of my permit? And you can log into your account and you'll get comments or hey, we're waiting on X, Y, and Z or whatever. So I think it'll be, once we get it implemented, but it's a lot of work. And, creating all those modern day forms from scratch and getting them to be more user friendly. It'll be a much better system.
Good.
All building permits don't come through this committee. Staff takes care of those, 90% of them. Very good. That'd be nice. Get that streamlined. Historic preservation?
There's a public hearing at the end of the month to designate City Hall a historic structure. That's coming up.
Regarding that, I would just suggest that before making that change, consider if it affects your insurance at all. I own a property that's on a state register, and my insurance was dropped for being historic.
Ooh. Sign me up, coach.
My brother's in the insurance industry, and yeah, there's a lot of changes going on. So
Unintended consequences,
So that's historic
I
preservation?
think this is already a state designated historic structure. This would be a local historic structure.
Are we on the national register? Because there's national, state.
David? I think it's national too. I think
Okay, so
it's, actually, I can find out right here.
So if it was a problem, it'd already be a problem.
I think when we were supposed to make stuff historic designation, I think step got.
State and national, right here.
Okay. So yeah, local.
All right, anything else, Mike?
We are working on the zoning rewrite, and we're looking at trying to schedule a joint plan commission and city council meeting to kind of kick off, get some feedback early on in the process. So we're trying to, scheduling these meetings gets to be challenging sometimes, so we're working on that.
Would you do that as like a workshop or on a
Like a
council?
workshop.
On a
workshop.
council night,
On a council night,
but it's gonna be a workshop.
joint
Okay.
meeting workshop, yeah. Workshop style, yeah.
All right, any other discussion? Look for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Approve?
We have,
Second?
we have a motion. Motion by Finkler and a second by Albright. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All against? We are adjourned.